What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. Okay, we got some major news breaking here. The release of former President Donald Trump's tax returns and what is becoming of this. We're learning a lot of things from this here. So, number one, that Trump wasn't audited. Okay, so that or current presidents, when they are in office or were in office, were supposed to be audited by the IRS, so that the presidents, when they're in office, were not doing anything wrong, and that the people can count on the presidents. This is largely why current presidents, since Nixon, have been releasing their tax returns to the public. We've seen that pretty much largely every current president, except for Trump, has released their tax returns. Biden has released his tax returns every year, and every president except for Trump has released their tax returns. Now we have Trump's tax returns, as the IRS has mandatorily had to release them because of this lawsuit. And now we're learning, here's what we have just learned here today, what the House committee report says about Trump's tax returns. You can see here the big picture came as a vote by the House Ways and Means Committee. Trump and Melania Trump, Donald Trump, reported to the IRS a negative total income of $31.7 million in 2015, negative $31.7 million, with $0 in taxable income and a net tax liability of $641,931. In fact, I'll show you a video here that's going to outline how much money they made or didn't make over the years. In 2016, they made a negative income of $32 million, $0 of taxable income, and a net tax liability of $750. In 2017, they made negative $12.8 million. These were years while they were in office. Negative $12.8 million with $0 in taxable income and a net tax liability of $750. The next year, they reported $24.4 million with $22.9 million of taxable income and a tax liability of $999,466. In 2019, they reported a taxable income of $4.4 million with $2.97 in taxable income and a tax liability of $133,000. It's amazing how they only paid $133,000 on almost $3 million of taxable income. They must have had a lot of write-offs. In 2020, they reported a negative income of $4.7 million and $0 of taxable income and a net liability of $0 in taxes. The same year, the couple claimed a tax refund of $5.47 million. So apparently the IRS actually gave them a tax refund of $5.4 million that last year they were in office. The other big thing here is records show that the IRS ignored a rule and delayed the audits of the president. He was the president at the time, now former President Trump's finances. You can see this quote here. After taking office, Donald Trump said he keep his tax returns secret because of an audit. We now know he was lying, but that wasn't the only problem. Here, take a look at this clip, and you'll see the congressman here from the House of Ways and Means Committee explain some of this.
Joining us now, we have the Democratic member of the House Ways and Means Committee, Congressman Tom Suozzi of New York. And it's really great timing for you to be on. We want to ask about these tax returns. We've learned a lot about Donald Trump this week. Just this week alone, he's dealing with a lot, Tom. The DOJ, of course, getting these 4 criminal referrals from the January 6th committee. As we've been discussing, we're not necessarily sure what they'll be doing with them, if anything, but they probably are going to be taking a good long read at the January 6th Select Committee's full report, which is being released to the public today. We can't put aside the documents that he took from the U.S. government and to Mar-a-Lago that, right now is being investigated, whether he stole them and whether he's returned them and the criminal exposure that he faces there. But the tax returns this morning are proving a number of things, some basic things like he lied about being audited. And it proves a number of things about Trump's financial dealings, his financial moves, moves he made to avoid taxes, paying very, very, very low numbers in taxes in 1 year, paying 0 in taxes, and also losses. So my question to you, sir, is what is the wrongdoing that has been exposed so far here as these tax returns are finally being revealed to the public? What is the wrongdoing that you think needs to be pursued?
Well, the focus of the Ways and Means Committee on this issue has been about the process that's set up to make sure that every president is audited by the IRS. There's a rule that was set up back in 1977 that says every president's supposed to be audited so the president can't go in and say, hey, don't audit me, or if somebody could say, go after that president, no fear or favor. Right. And everybody took that for granted for years, since 1977, because every president released their taxes. It wasn't really a big issue. When President Trump decided to break with tradition and not release taxes, people said, wow, what can we do here? Well, the good news is we can count on the IRS. They're mandatorily required to audit the president. We started digging into that, and we released yesterday and found out yesterday, really, that they didn't do their job. The IRS was dormant. They didn't pursue the president without fear or favor the way they're required for every president. So now we are proposing legislation that every president must be audited, because right now it's just a regulation of the IRS. It's not a law passed by Congress. We're proposing a law that says every president must be audited on a timely basis. You have to have enough resource. I mean, the IRS had one person looking at at one set of his taxes from 2016. They didn't look at the other years, and they didn't have any experts. People on partnerships, on foreign affairs, on the different sophisticated transactions that this president was involved in.
So why? Why was it dormant? Why was he not audited? Is anyone asking the question and pursuing the answer?
That's going to be the continuing push, because we need to make sure the IRS is doing its job on everything that they do, but certainly on this as well. Was it because it was the president's appointee, or was it because the whole system has just been broken down? We don't know the reason that the IRS did not do its job. We don't know if somebody called up and said, hey, the Treasury Secretary was appointed by the president. The IRS agent, IRS commissioner is appointed by the president. Do we know if there was a phone call made, or was this just because the whole system had broken down? We had to pursue this in a way that was not political, just to look at the legislative requirements that to do our job as a separate branch of government, what can we do to ensure that every president and every vice president is getting audited?
Okay, but like a thought game for you. What are the chances that a presidential candidate who refused to release his tax returns and said he was under an audit becomes president and continues to say he's under an audit when it turns out he was completely lying and never was? What are the chances that it was just the IRS that made a mistake and didn't do it?
Listen, I've never been engaged in hyperbole when it was related to this president, but I can say very clearly President Trump is a liar. And President Trump, broke with all norms. And now we have to do a once-in-a-generation fix to fix this problem that we thought was addressed back in the 1970s.
So there you go. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Remember that, each president gets to appoint their head of the IRS, the FBI, and, each branch of government here. So And Trump, he's been kind of pointing fingers here lately at the FBI and the DOJ and stuff like that. But remember that he got to pick the head of the FBI, who is a Republican, and um, you know, same thing with the IRS, and did the IRS do him any favors? Um, so it's just like, same thing with the Supreme Court. He got to put, 3 members of the Supreme Court on there, but it's just when they do him favors, if that was the case, it's okay. But if they don't do something his way, well, then he blames them. But the reality of it is that, these government officials are there to do a job. They're not always there to do a favor for somebody. They have to do their job the correct way. They're not supposed to break protocol to do a favor for a president. And then we think about things like Watergate and, things like that. That's not how things are supposed to be done. They're supposed to do their job correctly. And we think about things like the Supreme Court and branches of justice. They're supposed to, take their oath and do things, according to their oath in the correct way. So, I mean, you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. And, if they make a decision and it's based on their integrity and it happens to go against a president, whether it's Biden, Trump, Obama, or the next president, the president can't say, "Oh, you betrayed me" or something along those lines, just because it happens to, go against the opinion of that president. You know, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. But this is, I feel like Trump's the only president that has ever kind of said stuff like this. I mean, you don't see stuff like this from Biden. You don't see stuff like this from past presidents. And, you didn't see stuff like this from Bush, or past Republican presidents here recently. So, I mean, you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. But so it turns out that he wasn't, under audit like he said he was. And we're really getting a lot of kind of very, very different stories here. So we're going to get more details on this here in the next coming days. I don't know. Crazy stuff. Also, they're working on the $1.7 trillion funding bill here in the Senate. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says Senate could pass $1.7 trillion funding package as early as today. They're racing to pass this before they have advanced it, but they're racing to pass it here before the winter storm, as a massive, massive winter storm here coming here for most of the country. Most of the country here. Take a look.
Right now, more than 25 states are under winter weather and wind chill alerts. This week, every single lower 48 state is expected to reach temperatures below freezing. And in cities such as Seattle, the first snow has already fallen. A major concern for Americans is, will the weather affect holiday travel plans? It's an understandable concern. We are already seeing long lines at airports as fears of delays and cancellations grow. Our team of reporters following this from across the country. We begin with CNN's Lucy Kafanov in Denver. It's bracing for its coldest day in 32 years. I got to say, it's cold here in D.C., but man, if Denver's going to have one of its coldest days in years, it's got to be cold there.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like it right now, Jim. In fact, this afternoon, we're expecting temperatures to reach as high as 50 degrees, but all of that is going to drop dramatically this evening, potentially in the span of an hour, when this major storm brings what the National Weather Service is describing as life-threatening cold to the Front Range. Denver, as you point out, is expecting its coldest day in 32 years tomorrow. Starting tonight, highs in Colorado will stay within single digits, lows dropping below zero. The deep freeze expected to last through Friday morning. And the forecasts, Jim, don't necessarily reflect just how cold it's going to feel. We're going to have wind gusts and snow. And so in some parts of the plains, the wind chill is going to be as low as minus 60 degrees. Frostbite could be caused within minutes due to prolonged exposure. Folks are being warned to stay indoors. Colorado's Governor Jared Polis has activated 100 National Guard members to help with these extreme cold preparations. And the Denver Coliseum behind me is actually going to be used as a 24-hour warming shelter for anyone that needs a warm place to stay. Denver also coincidentally under a state of emergency due to the unexpected influx of migrants in recent weeks. And so some of these migrant families will be bussed here to this Coliseum to have a warm place to stay during this unexpected and extreme weather front. Again, tomorrow is going to be the most dangerous day. We are expecting the temperatures to increase in time for Christmas. But again, this is unprecedented and extremely cold, Jim.
Understood. Looks like it will be. CNN's Omar Jimenez, he's at Chicago O'Hare International Airport. Omar, you said last hour you're not seeing a lot of delays yet, but I wonder, are airlines and passengers thinking it's just a matter of time before the weather starts impacting flights?
It's just a matter of time before essentially we see the mass impacts on delays. But on some of those delays, we took a look at some of the FlightAware data, the misery map, of course, that they post. And O'Hare, where we are right now, is actually leading the country in delays, right around 40. So, you know, it's definitely a significant amount, but no real significant number of cancellations at this point, which is what most people would be concerned about heading into these holidays. And right now, while it is cold, it's about 10 degrees outside right now, feels even colder. It's really tomorrow and into this weekend where the combination of snow, wind gusts at 50 miles an hour, and temperatures dropping as low as negative 30 with wind chill, that combination is what officials fear for people trying to either fly or get on the road for Christmas.
Yeah, so negative 30-degree wind chills. That's basically what it feels like. So take precautions, and if you're traveling, give yourself some extra time. I'll keep you up to date here. I'll have some new news here for you guys here in the next video on the $1.7 trillion bill, how it's going, and some details on that here. Remember, new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll also have a trivia question for you guys here in the next video where you could win cash directly from me. Remember, those are happening here every single day. So if you haven't yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below and the bell icon that appears after you subscribe. It's completely free to do so. This way you won't miss out on our new videos that come out here every day. Also, thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos. I'll keep you up to date here. And you can click here to watch my newest video next. And here's details on Congress working on $3,000 checks. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.